The history of the Mafia, or as we call it, Cosa Nostra, is the history of secretive people who never leave records of their activities. They prefer to spread lies, create myths, and sometimes believe them themselves. It is part of their game, an illusion that allows them to maintain power. It all began in the 19th century in Sicily, when feudalism was giving way to capitalism, and landowners maintained order through private armies and courts. But soon land was sold to individuals, entail disappeared, and suddenly many new landowners appeared. As the number of new owners grew, conflicts broke out, contracts had to be honored and property protected. The old barons handed over responsibility for maintaining order to the state, but it was unable to cope. There were only a few hundred policemen on the entire island, and maintaining order became difficult. The poor, in desperation, began to steal, and in small towns where the law was practically non-existent, local elites began to restore order themselves, creating squads made up of former criminals. These groups hunted down thieves and returned stolen goods for a reward, and sometimes even a pardon for the criminals. Local protectors often colluded with criminals rather than killed them. The Mafia became a Western Siberian phenomenon, while in the east of Sicily, the ruling elites were stronger and could suppress any group by hiring their own protectors. Western landowners preferred to hire mafiosi, who could protect several estates at once. They kept everything under control, and the Mafia gained a foothold in vulnerable industries such as citrus and cattle breeding, becoming more effective than the police in returning stolen goods. So the Mafia business grew, protection for a percentage, and the landowners needed it. By 1864, Niccolò Taransicilano, commander of the National Guard in Palermo, noted that a sect of thieves was operating throughout Sicily. Ruthless rural criminals, from cattle thieves to wealthy farmers, with their own code and symbols. They not only engaged in criminal activity, but also influenced politics, intimidating voters and controlling elections. Politicians with Mafia connections gained real power in the unstable Italian system. By the end of the 19th century, the Mafia was flourishing, and Palermo's police chief, Omaro Sangiorgi, had identified hundreds of mafiosi from different clans. They had rituals, codes, and influence over the entire criminal network, from counterfeiting to murder. They supported the families of their arrested members and paid for lawyers. In 1898, the Italian government attempted to suppress the Mafia, but of the dozens arrested, only a handful were convicted in court in 1901. A setback for anti-Mafia efforts. Some studies suggest that the Mafia thrived on the resource curse of Sicily, which was rich in sulfur, a valuable export commodity at the time, creating conditions for the Mafia. Soon, the demand for citrus fruits also helped to boost their influence. When Mussolini decided to suppress the Mafia and establish fascist control in 1925, he appointed Cesare Mori as the prefect of Palermo, giving him special powers. Mussolini's campaign was harsh, but it worked. Crime rates dropped and landowners regained control of their lands. Many mafiosi fled to Canada and the United States, where they continued their activities. After World War II, chaos ensued as the Allied forces entered Sicily, leading to increased crime, a flourishing black market, and a resurgence of gangsterism. Against this backdrop, the Mafia moved from rural areas to the cities, adapting to new economic and political challenges. The murders of socialist reformers and attempts to stop land reforms did not maintain their power. As a result, many landowners sold their land to the Mafia. In the 1950s, the United States began a crackdown on drug trafficking, leading to the arrest of many mafiosi. To find new alliances, Joseph Bonanno emerged, founding the Sicilian Mafia Commission to settle disputes and expand the drug trade. This is just a glimpse into the complex and multi-layered history of the Sicilian Mafia.